Hello, I hope you are all doing well. I wanted to make a little video for you to talk to you about memory work. One of the things that we've done this year at Paideia is we've cut back a little bit on the curriculum because of the distance learning. And so we've made memory work an optional thing for most of the students. Um, and we've suggested that you do it on your own as an enrichment. I want to talk today a little bit about why we think it's a great idea for you guys to continue pursuing this on your own, and then some ways that you can share your memory work with the school so that the kids can have a sense of completion when they finish the memory work. So why do memory work? Well, there's a couple reasons. Memory is one of the 5 canons of rhetoric, you could say. So the canons of rhetoric, we have invention, arrangement, you have style, you have memory, and you have delivery, okay? So the idea with rhetoric is that students would be able to memorize the piece and be able to say it without notes. As our students go up through Paideia, they are going to get to a point in their educational career where they do a senior thesis. At the end of that year, they present to a crowd without notes. They present from memory. You've probably also seen at our assemblies in years past how we've been preparing these older kids for that as they have longer and longer individual speeches that they give from memory at our assembly. The memory works like a muscle. It doesn't work like a box. Some people think, oh, if I memorize things, I'll fill up my memory and I won't have room for other stuff. But really, when you work your memory, you're making your brain get stronger at memorize things. So the more you memorize, the more you can memorize. And I think another benefit of it is that what you memorize when you're young stays with you when you're older. Kids are going to memorize stuff no matter what. Is it going to be the lyrics of pop tunes, or is it going to be the lyrics of a great poem? Is it going to be stats from baseball, or is it going to be God's word? So what we're hoping is that we can kind of put a pathway before students of things that are good for them to memorize and still know when they're older. The Bible also tells us that we want to meditate on God's word. Oh, how I love thy law. It is my meditation all the day. It's hard to meditate if you don't have it memorized. So God's word is an extremely important part of the curriculum that we have for memory work. So what we normally do at school is each grade in the elementary has a Bible passage they're working on, they have a poem that they're working on, and some catechism questions. And they do that at school, and then they also do it for homework. So if you had a first and a fourth grader, they'd be memorizing different things. What we're doing this year, because we realize it's a lot more complicated when the parent is the one guiding all the memory work at home and doing all the practice with it, is we're trying to streamline it by having the whole school work on the same things if they choose to do that for enrichment. So we picked a Bible passage from Colossians 3, and that's our first quarter passage. We'll have a psalm that we're memorizing in the second quarter. But right now we're still in the first quarter. And if you look at that enrichment page, it's on the website. There's a code for it that you can ask me if you need the password. It shows you the exact Bible passage that we're memorizing, Colossians 3, 12 to 17. We encourage you to do it as a family if you're going to do it. Okay, so rather than having to practice with each of the kids individually, different pieces, you can all work on the same one together. And I would do the same thing with poems. If you have several elementary kids, you have one secondary kid, why don't you all memorize a poem together? Pick a poem that is of interest to your students. I know with my kids, they like historical things, so we have picked a historical poem that we're memorizing right now. And then we also have our catechism. At school, normally they would be in different parts of the catechism depending on what grade they are in. I just went ahead and started at the beginning of the catechism again with all my kids. So we're doing it all together. So there are some ways that you can share the memory work with the school so that your student can feel a sense of accomplishment and completion when they're done with it. One of the things that you can do if your student does do the Colossians memory work is take a video of it and send it to Brenda, and we will go ahead and make up a compilation video of the student saying the Bible passage. So that's one thing. The quarter is going to end let's see, it's the first week of November. So I think we said to send the video by October 30th, but really if you want to send it by like November 5th or 6th, we can still take it and make the video. Another thing that you can do if your students have finished memorizing a poem, take a video of that and we will go ahead and make a YouTube playlist of all the different poems that have been memorized. And once again, try to send that in the next 2 weeks if you've done something for this quarter, and we'll make a first quarter playlist of poems. A few tips that we found helpful in my family for doing memory work is that I make up a memory work folder for everybody. We start out with our Bible passage, we have our poem that we're working on, and then our catechism questions. So it's not hard to figure out where is the stuff that we need to find. All the memory work folders are the same, they're interchangeable. I just pass them out when we do it. And then another tip is that we like to do our memory work with a meal. So for us, breakfast this year is the time that we typically do memory work. If we're all sitting around the table as breakfast is starting to wrap up, I start the memory work. If we don't get it in at breakfast, because some things don't always happen according to plan, the car is our backup plan. So while I'm driving the kids to school, I will start doing the memory work with them in the car, or I'll have one of the older kids have the folder and they lead the memory work in the car. So those are some things that have helped us get the memory work in a fun way by attaching it to either the car ride or the breakfast table. I hope you all can participate in some way, whatever level of commitment that you can with the memory work. And remember that it is a great thing that you're doing with your kids, and you are expanding their memory in a way that will help them through the coming years. I'll see you later.